The next week we have like 500 people show up. So we march down the street, we set up, and the police go, well, we don't mind that you're feeding the homeless. It's that you're making a political statement, and that's not allowed. Say, we're going to give you muni buses, and all the homeless can get on them. We'll drive everybody out to the ocean, to the armory. You can feed them inside the armory, but you can't have banners and literature and stuff like that. We just don't know what you're thinking. And so then the media asked us what we were thinking, and we're saying, well, with 50 cents of every federal tax dollar going to the military, and the fact that we've been doing this for 8 years, we know that it's not necessary that anyone has to live in the streets or eat at soup kitchens, that we're trying to change society so that, that no one does have to eat at Food Not Bombs or live in Golden Gate Park. And so the next week is Monday is Labor Day, and about 2,000 people arrive at the end of Haight Street to march with us so they could get arrested feeding people. The police give up after making 54 arrests, and the next day the mayor frantically calls us. He wants to meet, so we meet for 2 days, and he gives us a permit so he can stop arresting us. So now we have so many volunteers, we might as well share food on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And now a group has started in Victoria, British Columbia, one in New York City, Washington, D.C., another in Portland, Oregon, and Seattle. And so we're like, wow, this is amazing. It's a good thing they stopped arresting us, but it was helpful that it started so many new chapters as a result. And so then next summer, homeless people are coming to us saying, look, the police have come to us in Golden Gate Park and told us we couldn't live here anymore, that we had to either rent an apartment or leave town. And then we'd hear stories about people being having their pets taken by animal control for being homeless, and the fire department was brought in and hosed down one of the camps at one point and got everybody wet in the middle of the night. And so the second day they said, you know, we're going to start camping in front of City Hall, just like those Chinese students are doing in Tenement Square. We are going to do Tenement Square in San Francisco, have a tent city protest. And so on the third day they come to us and say, hey, you know, we don't want to sneak away to get food. Can you come and deliver food to our occupation? And so we thought, well, yeah, we'll do that. And so we have a meeting and we decided we'd set up a 24-hour-a-day vegetarian restaurant in front of City Hall. And then every day at lunch, the homeless people would have a ballet, or they'd have a homeless poetry reading, or homeless concerts. And so when the mayor and the politicians came out of City Hall, there'd be this whole like amazing event happening. And then every evening after dinner, we would have a general assembly and make decisions what we're going to do the next day. And we got portable toilets, and we had brooms and stuff to clean up the plaza, and we had a little library and medical facility, and all this amazing little community of people, and lots of visitors and lots of media. And so after 27 days, the mayor's completely freaked out. He says, okay, I've got a solution for the homeless. I've just been donated this abandoned Jaguar auto dealership a couple of blocks away. All the good homeless people can live in there. So with the help of the riot police, we pack up all our belongings and we go to the new shelter. And when we get there, they say, oh, you can't bring your wife and children here. What were you thinking? This is for men only. And the husbands would be really despondent. Oh my goodness, what are they saying? And then they say, you can't bring your dog here. You have to take your dog to the pound and have him put to sleep. You can't be bringing pets here. And we don't have any mattresses. Who told you that? Well, you have to bring a cardboard box to sleep on because these are concrete floors. And of course, we're not going to have any meals. And so we go, wow, this does not seem like a solution to homelessness to us. So we go back to our apartment, make a huge amount of food, go back to Civic Center Plaza at noon, where the police arrest 16 of us and take all of our equipment. So now we're really disheartened. So we go, wow, we should come up with a new plan. So what we decide for dinner is we divide the food into thirds. So we come out with just a little bit of rice and beans and some salad and a little bit of bread and a little cardboard sign saying Food Not Bombs. And sure enough, the police would arrest them and take all that equipment. And then we come out with a little bit more food and another little sign, and another few Food Not Bombs volunteers would be arrested and taken away. And then the captain would be at Northern Station going, that's great, you stopped Food Not Bombs, way to go. And so while that's happening, we come out with all the rest of the food and provide meals to everybody that showed up, all like 300-400 people who had been living with us at the Tent City protest. And so we do this every day. And then after a month or two, we're like, wow, we're going to burn out doing this. We need a new plan. So we come up with an idea called Risk Arrest 1 day a month with Food Not Bombs. And so the nuns and priests come out and they get arrested, and the police pat the nuns down to make sure they don't have guns, because you know nuns with guns is very dangerous. And then the teachers union comes out and gets arrested, and the carpenters union gets arrested, and student groups get arrested. And then one day this group comes out and they have this big banner and it says National Lawyers Guild. And the police look at that, National Lawyers Guild, that's not too good. So they arrest a couple of people eating, and then they run away, and this kind of thing happens like every day. And then on October 17th of 1989, there's this huge earthquake, and the gas and electricity in our apartment goes off. And so we go, wow, maybe we should just take the equipment that we had for the Tent City protest and go down and finish cooking dinner. And there'll probably be more people who need food than ever before, and the police will be real busy with those earthquakes. So we go down there, we finish cooking the dinner, and sure enough, a lot more people show up than ever before. And in fact, now the grocery stores are bringing the food to us because their refrigerators are down. So we go get a second tent to store all the food. And then it seems like every police vehicle in the city starts to arrive. And we're like, whoa, man, this is right after an earthquake. Why are they going to bother us? And so the police start walking towards us, and we're preparing, bracing to be arrested, but they walk right past go to the end of the line and wait their turn, and then they have dinner with us, and then they show up early the next morning for breakfast, and because we're the only food in San Francisco for the first 3 days after Loma Prieta, they eat with us 3 meals a day. And fortunately that ends the arrest, so we're so relieved. And now there's groups in Brixton, London, in England. There's groups in Melbourne, Australia. All the major cities of Canada now have new Food Not Bombs chapters. There was a group in Prague, Czechoslovakia, and we were like really psyched. Wow, this is really taking off. And so, and now we're sharing food every day, twice a day in San Francisco. And so we find out that the Congress has said that San Francisco is going to be the official city to celebrate the 500th anniversary of Columbus discovering the New World. And Native American people have a meeting up in Arctic Circle, Alaska, and they decide maybe 500 years is enough, and they call for a protest. And so it turns out my flyer had been seen by a publisher in Philadelphia, and they asked me to write a book, Food Not Bombs, How to Feed the Hungry and Build Community. And that was going to come out in October, so we asked if Food Not Bombs activists would like to have the first world gathering in San Francisco before this protest. And people were into it, so about 70 people came, and we decided we'd talk about what are the principles of Food Not Bombs. And so we decided there'd be 3 principles. That the food would always be free and vegan or vegetarian, and free to anyone without restriction, rich or poor, drunk or sober. That the second one would be that we would not have any presidents or directors or headquarters or anything like that, that each chapter would be autonomous and use the consensus process to make decisions and try to actively invite the people eating with us to participate in our meetings and in formulating the direction of each local Food Not Bombs group. And then the third one was that we would be dedicated to nonviolence, and that we wouldn't be a charity, but that we would work for nonviolent social change to change society so no one would have to stand in line to eat at a soup kitchen or live in the streets. And then after that, we made a huge amount of food, and we went down to Aquatic Park where Columbus was scheduled to land. And this time, the Native American community just waded out into the bay and pushed Columbus back out to sea, saying 500 years is enough. And then some of the Food Not Bombs kids went to the Columbus Avenue parade, and they stole the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria off the floats, and were chased through North Beach by the Italian American Association. And then we had a big party, and we got books to everybody, and they went home to start more Food Not Bombs groups in their neighborhoods.